What it do, Ken Folk, Ken Folk, Ken Folk. Your boy Sandy Cool back with part 2 of the rise of hip hop. That was a lot of information, so I had to hit you with a part 2. Shout out to my everyone that follow me on Twitter, aka X. Make sure you subscribe to the Stingray Cool podcast, $ STINGRAYCOOLPODCAST. So let's do the continuation of this. Yeah, boy, let's go. 1980s old school and new school transition to recording. The earliest hip hop music was performed live at the house of parties and block party events and was not recorded prior to 1979. Recorded hip hop music consisted mainly of PA system, soundboard recordings of live party shows and early hip hop mixtapes by DJs. Puerto Rican DJ Disco Wiz is credited as the first hip hop DJ to create a mixed plate or mixed dub recording, when in 1977 he combined sound bites, special effects, and pause beats to technically produce a sound recording. The first hip hop record is widely regarded to be the Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight from 1979. It was the first hip record to gain widespread popularity. Popularity, I meant to say. Popularity in the mainstream. And was where hip hop music got its name from for from the opening bar. However, much controversy surrounds this assertion, as some regards the March 1979 single King Tim III Personality Jock by by the Fatback Man as a rap record. There are various other claimants for the title of first hip hop record. By the early 1980s, all the major elements and techniques of the hip hop genre were in place, and by 1982, the electro sound had become the trend on the street and in the dance clubs. New York City radio station WKTU featured Warp Nine's Nook in a commercial to promote the station's signature sound of emerging hip hop. Though not yet mainstream, hip hop had begun to permeate the music scene outside of New York City. It could be found in cities as diverse as Los Angeles, Atlanta, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Dallas, Kansas City. Cause no Tech Nine in them. Strange music, shout out to them. Strange music. San Antonio, cause no Bun B and all, and Scarface, Willie D, Rest Peace Bushel Bill, Chameleon there, Paul Wall and them. Cause Miami, Uncle Luke and Trina, Rick Ross, Big Daddy. Seattle. I don't know who's from Seattle. St. Louis, Coast Nelly. The whole St. Lunatics. Ali, Murphy Lee. New Orleans, Master P, and all them. New Orleans, Houston, and Toronto. Indeed, Funk You Up. 1979, the first hip hop record released by a female group, and the second single released by Sugar Hill Records was performed by The Sequence, a group of from Columbia, South Carolina, which featured Angie Stone. Shouts to Angie Stone. Despite the genre's growing popularity, Philadelphia was for, course, got Freeway Cassidy and people like Gilly the Kid from Philadelphia, was for many years the only city whose contributions could be compared to New York City's. Hip hop music became popular in Philadelphia in the late 1970s. The first released record was titled Rhythm Talk by Jocko Henderson. And I think Philadelphia also birthplace of doggone Soul Train, if I ain't mistaken. The New York Times had dubbed Philadelphia the graffiti capital of the world in 1971. Philadelphia native DJ Lady B recorded to the Beat Y'all in 1979 and became the first female solo hip hop artist to record music. Schoolie D started in 1984 and also from Philadelphia began creating a style that would later be known as gangster rap. Influence of disco, of course, Easy N.W.A. also elevated gangster rap. Ice Cube, DJ Yellett, MC Ren, Dr. Dre, Easy, of course, Daz Dillinger, Corrupt and Snoop the Dogg Pound, Ice Cube, Dub C, Mac 10, Spice One, Silly Cell, MC8, also against rap. Influence of disco. Hip hop music was influenced by disco music, as disco also emphasized the key role of the DJ in creating tracks and mixes for dancers. And old school hip hop often used disco tracks as beats. At the same time, however, hip hop music was also a backlash against certain subgenres of the late 1970s. Disco, while the early disco was African American and Italian American created underground music. You learn something new every day. I ain't know that. Developed by developed by DJs and producers for the dance club subculture. By the late 1970s, disco airwaves were dominated by mainstream, expensively recorded music industry. Produced, disco songs according to Curtis Blow. These are the breaks. The early days of hip hop were characterized by divisions between fans and distractors of disco music. Hip hop had largely emerged as a direct response to the watered down Europeanized disco music that permeated the airwaves. The earliest hip hop was mainly based on hard funk loops sourced from vintage funk records. By 1979, disco instrumental loops/tracks had become the basis of hip hop music. This genre was called disco rap. Ironically, the rise of hip hop was also played a role in the eventual decline of disco's popularity. The disco sound had a strong influence on early hip hop music. Most of the early hip hop songs were created by isolating existing disco guitar bass lines and dubbing over them. The MC with MC rhymes, the Sugar Hill Gang used Chicks Good Times as the foundation for the 1979 hit Rapper's Delight, generally considered to be the song that first popularized rap music in the United States and around the world. In 1982, Africa Bambaataa released the single Planet Rock, which incorporated electronica elements from Kraftwerk's Trans Europe Express in numbers, as well as RMO's Riot and Ling Lagos. The Planet Rock sound also spawned the hip hop electronic dance trend. Electro music was included Songs such as Planet Patrol's Play at Your Own Risk, 1982, Sabank's One More Shot, 1982, Sarong's Club Underworld, 1984, Shannon's Let the Music Play, that's my jam right there, 1983, Freezes, period I, period O, period U, period, 1983, Midnight Stars, Freakazoid, one of my other favorite songs, 1983, and Shaka Khan's I Feel For You, another favorite song, good, good, good. 1984. Boy, they name a lot of my favorite songs from the 80s. DJ Pete Jones, Eddie Chiba, DJ Hollywood, and Love Bug Starsky were disco influenced hip hop DJs. Their styles differ from other hip hop musicians who focus on rapid fire rhymes like hit it, this, the breaks, hit the rapid fire rhymes. Here we go, the time. No example of rapid fire rhymes and more complex rhythmic schemes. Africa Bambaataa, Paul Whitley, Grandmaster Flash, and Bobby Robertson were all members of the third latter group in Washington, D.C. Go-Go emerged as a reaction against disco and eventually incorporated characteristics of hip-hop during the early 1980s, and DJ-based genre of electric music behaved similarly, eventually evolving into underground styles known as house music in Chicago and techno. Shout out to DJ Jazzy Jeff. Diversification of styles. Further information: list of hip hop genres. Oh yeah, I know I'm gonna love this part. The 1980s marked the diversification of hip hop as the genre developed more complex styles. New York City became a veritable laboratory for the creation of new hip hop music. Hold on, new hip hop sounds. Early examples of the diversification process can be heard in tracks such as Grandmaster Flash, The Adventures of Grandmaster Flash, On the Wheels of Steel, 1981, a single consisting entirely of sample tracks, as well as Africa Bambaata's Planet Rock, another one of my favorite songs. Nah, I freaks like Grandmaster Flash Wheels of Steels too. And Warp Nine's Nook, 1982, which signified the fusion of hip hop music with electro. In addition, Ramazelle and K. Rob's Beat Bop, 1983, was a slow jam which had a dub influence with the use of reverb and echo as a texture and playful sound effects like Years Away by Warp 9, 1983, produced and written by Lottie Golden and Richard Skier, described as a cornerstone of early 80s beatbox Afrofuturism by the UK paper. The Guardian introduced social commentary and from a sci-fi perspective in the 1970s, hip-hop music typically used samples from funk and later from disco in mid-1980s marketed a paradigm shift in the development of hip-hop with the introduction of samples from rock music as demonstrated in the albums King of Rock and License to Ill from Run DMC. Of course, you know that. Oh, I know that too. Hip hop prior to the shift is characterized by old school hip hop. Period. Players. In 1980, the Rollin Corporation launched the TR 808. Yeah, 808. Rhythm composer. It was one of the earliest programmable drums. Here you go, right here in the corner. The Rollin TR Rhythm composer staple sound of hip hop. Right there. I ain't gonna point because my left and y'all left is different, and my right and y'all right is different. So I'm just pointing it with the mouse. Let me get back on track. All right, T.I. Lutz is the rhythm composer. It was one of the earliest programmable drum machines with the rich users could create their own rhymes rather than having to use present patterns. Do it was a commercial failure. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can still learn failures, can folks. Over the course of the decade, the 808 attracted a cult following among underground musicians for its affordability on the youth market, ease of use and idiocentric sounds, particularly its deep booming bass drum. It became a cornerstone of the emerging electronic dance and hip hop genres, popularization by the early hits such as African Mambata and the soul sonic forces Planet Rock. And 808 was eventually used on more hit records than any other drum machine. Its popularity with hip hop is particular what has made it one of the most influential inventions in popular music, comparable to the Fender's Stratocaster's influence on rock. You better recognize what our culture is, baby. That's what we do. We the blueprint of money, life, and respect. What they say, key to life, money, power, respect. Over time, sampling technology became more advanced. However, earlier producers such as Marley Marl used drum machines to construct their beats from small excerpts of other beats in synchronization. synchronization. In his case, triggering three chord sampling delays units through a rolling 808. Later samples such as the EMU SP-1200 allowed not only more memory but more flexibility for creative productions. This allowed the filtration and layering different hits in with the possibility of resequencing them into a single piece. With the emergence of a new generation of samplers such as the AKI S900 in the late 1980s, producers did not have to create complex time-consuming tape loops. I know that's right. Public Enemies, shout out to my boys, Public Enemies. Shout out to the Still Living, DJ Terminator, Professor Griff, of course, Flavor Flav, and of course, uh, Chuck D. Public Enemy's first album was created with the help of the large loops. The process of looping a break into the break beat now became more commonly done with a sampler, now doing the job which so far had been done manually by the DJs using turntables. Yeah, shout out to my DJs. In 1989, DJ Mark James under the moniker 45 King released the 900 number, a breakbeat track created by synthesizing samplers and vinyl records. One of my favorite things to see. The lyrical content and other instrumentals accompanied of hip hop developing, as well the early lyrical styles in the 1970s, which tended to be both in glitch chants were replaced with metaphorical lyrics exploring a wider range of subjects, as well as the lyrics were performed over more complex, multi-layered instrumentals accompanied artists such as Melly Mel, Rakim, my boy, salute to the God MC. Chuck D, of course, one of my icons too. Carries One, another of my icons, Warp 9. Shout out to Warp 9. Revolution hip hop by transforming it into more mature art form with sophisticated arrangements. Often features gorgeous textures and multiple layers. The influential single, The Message, still a classic, iconic song. That's a good down hip hop history as number one. 1982 by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five is widely considered to be a pioneering force of conscious rap, my favorite genre. Well, I love all forms of rap, but I frequent that conscious rap and gangster rap too. Of course, party rap. Independent record labels like Tommy Boy, shout out Tommy Boys, Prism Records, and Profile Records became successful in the early 1980s, releasing records as a furious pace in response in the demand generated by local radio stations. The club and club DJs, early 1980s, electro music and rap were catalysts that sparked the hip hop movement led by the artists such as Cybertron, Hassim, Africa Mambata, Planet Patrol, Nucleus, and Warp 9 in the New York City recording scenes. Artists collaborated with producers slash songwriters or slash writers such as Arthur Baker, John Robbie, Lottie Golden, and Richard Gere, exchanging ideas that contributed to the development of hip hop. Some rappers eventually became mainstream pop performers. Curtis Blow, Salute to the MC again. One of my icons as well. Parents in the Sprite soda pop commercial. Man, I remember that. Man, Sprite owe black people thank you. Excuse me for saying that, but yeah, they owe some hip hop people some thank you. I mean, they owe some other races of people some thank you too, but man, especially my era, I remember like LL Cool J, Goody Mob, and Fat Joe and them. But salute to LL Cool J too, putting on Gap and people like that. Of course, shout out to the Rockefeller Nation for the crystal and stuff like that. Sprite soda pop commercials marketed the first hip hop musicians to do a commercial for a major product you better recognize too. The 1981 songs rapped by Blondie and Christmas rapping by the New Wave band The Waitress were among the first pop songs to use rap in 1982. African Bambaataa introduced hip hop to an international artist with Planet Rock. Man, I'm a 90s kid. I know how influential that is, especially power of product selling commercials. Prior to the 1980s, hip hop music was largely confined within the context of the United States. However, during the 1980s, it began its spread and became a part of the music scene in dozens of countries. Craig Wilson was the first DJ to introduce electro hip hop to the UK club. Artists in the early 1980s opted for the dub of instrumental versions of Knock by Walk. Extra T's E.T. Boogie, Hip Hop, Bebop, Don't Stop, by Man Paris, Planet Rock, and Dirty Talk. In the early part of the decade, b-boying became the first aspect of hip hop culture to reach Japan, Australia, and South Africa. You see what it is. Proof right there how powerful our influences are. And the breakdance new crew, Black Noise, established the practice before beginning to rap later in the decade. Musicians and presenters. Sydney became French's first black TV presenter. Salute to that. TV presenter with the show Hip Hop, period H, period I, period, period P, period I. I mean, period H, period O, period P, period. Oh, I guess the algorithm. You might see it in the reading this, but I had to let you know how they pronounce it. What how the show go title. Which screened at TF1 during 1984, a first for the genre worldwide. Sydney is considered the father of French hip hop. Radio Nova helped launch other French hip hop stars, including D Nasty, Hoes for 1984, album Panam, City Rapping, along with the compilations Rapitude 1 and 2, contributed to a general awareness of hip hop in France. Hip hop has always kept a very close relationship with the Hispanic community in the New York. DJ Disco Wheels and the Rock Steady crew were among early innovators from Puerto Rico. Shout out to Maniquas. Bonico's, I think how you say it, combining English and Spanish in their lyrics. The Mean Machine recorded their first song under the label Disco Dreams in 1981, while Kid Frost from Los Angeles began his career in 1982. And of course, salute to my boy Cypress Hill. Was formed in 1988 in the suburbs of Southgate outside Los Angeles, when Shanae Reyes, born in Havana, aka Cuba, and his younger brother, Peno Sergio Middleman Ace, moved from Cuba to Southgate with his family in 1971. They teamed up with DVX from Queens, New York, launched Muggerud, DJ Muggs. That's one of my DJs too. I can't believe I forgot that. And honorable mention DJ Muggs. I forgot to mention that yesterday. And Louis Fresh, Be Real. So that's his birth name, and a Mexican/Cuban American native of Los Angeles. After the departure of Ace to begin his solo career, the group adopted the name Cypress Hill, named after the streets running through the neighborhood nearby in South Los Angeles. Japanese hip hop is said to have begun with the Hiroshi Farajire returned to Japan and playing hip hop records in the early 1980s. Japanese hip hop generally tends to be most directly influenced by old school hip hop, taking the era's catchy beats, dance culture, and overall fun and carefree nature of incorporating it into their music. Hip hop became one of the most commercially viable mainstream music genres in Japan. Mm, man, we out there powerful. B1. And the line between hip hop music is frequently blurred. The new music of hip hop was the second wave of hip hop music, originated in 1983, 82, 84, with the early records of Run DMC, you know, and my boy LL Cool J, another one of my icons. Him, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim is my, see, KRS-One is my 1980s Mount Rushmore hip hop. As with the hip preceding it, which subsequently became known as old school hip hop. The new school came predominantly from New York City. The New York school, hold on, yeah, New York. Say, all right. The New York was initially characterized in the form of drum machine led minimalism, with influences from rock music, a hip hop metal music from for the 80s. A hard edge, ugly slash beauty trance was desperate and stimulating as New York itself. It was notable for taunts and boasts about rapping and social political commentary, both delivered in an aggressive, self-assertive style and an image as the song's artist projected a tough, cool street b-boy attitude. Oh yeah, here we go. These elements contrasted sharply with much of the previous funk and disco influenced hip hop rhymes. Not all artists prior to the 1983 1984 had these styles. New school artists made shorter songs that could more easily gain radio play, and they produced more cohesive LP albums that their old school counterparts. By 1986, their releases began to establish the hip hop album as a fixture of mainstream music. Hip hop music became commercially successful as exemplified by the Beastie Boys. Shout out to Beastie Boys and rest in peace to Adam from the Beastie Boys. 1986 album, License to Ill, one of my favorites. And I like the 1999 album too, which was the first rap album to hit #1 on the Billboard charts. Of course, you got Run DMC, Joseph Run Simmons, plus you got Run DMC, Joseph Run Simmons, right here. James Master J, right here, rest in peace, and Daryl DMC McDaniels, right here. Now we about to go in my era. This is I'm a 90s baby, born December 26, 1990s. I love the 80s, but here we go. The era I was born in. And shout out to my hip hop Mount Rushmore of the 90s, Biggie, Tupac, and I guess Easy count because he was there. You know, he's technically the 80s, but I say Easy, Nas, and Jay Z. Even though I got more, but I'm just gonna make it simple. Yeah, yay. Boy, this is my part right here. And and much love to all the 80s rappers and 80s babies. Now, here's the era of my 90s era. 90s babies stand up, and of course the 80s babies stand up, and the 1970s babies stand up. Boy, this part I've been waiting here. The era when I was born. Now I can give you a my deeper feelings on this since I wasn't born in the 80s, but I respect the culture. I wasn't born in the 70s, but I respect the culture. But this culture I really know the 90s. So here we go. 1990s Golden Age Hip Hop. Hip Hop Golden Age, a golden era, is the name given in the period mainstream hip hop produced between the mid 1980s and the mid 1990s, which is characterized by diversity, quality, innovation, and influence. There were strong themes of Afrocentrism and political militancy in Golden Age hip hop lyrics, influence, and responsibility. The music was experimental and the sampling drew on electric sources. There was often strong jazz influence. Yeah, heck yeah. Especially in our early years, Nas, Illmatic and stuff. Influencing the music artists and groups most often associated with the phrase public enemy. Boogie Down Productions, Eric B. and Rakim, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, Gang Starr, Big Daddy Kane, and the Jungle Brothers, the Divisible Planets made unique contributions as well, earning a Grammy in 1993. Boom, yeah. Of course, got one of my icons again, Karis One. Karis One and his Boogie Down Productions were key performers in the golden age of hip hop. Nah, dang, you ain't got gangster rap after this. I like gangster rap and party rap stuff, but I'm more of a conscious rapper kind of guy. The golden age is noted for the invention, a time when it seemed that every new single reinvented the genre, according to the Rolling Stones, referring to hip hop in its golden age. Spins. Editor-in-Chief Saya Michael says there were so many important groundbreaking albums coming out right about the time. And MTV Sway Calorie, shout out to Sway, aka Sway in the morning. Wake up for the night watch. As the thing that made the era so great is nothing was contrived. Everything was still being discovered and everything was still innovative and new. Writers William Jelani Cobb says, what made the era this ingrated, worthy of the term, golden was the sheer number of stylistic innovations that name into existence in this golden years. A critical mass of mic prodigies were literally creating themselves in their art form at the time. Oh, yeah, shout out to Mob Deep too, MOP. The golden age spanned from approximately 1986 to 1997. So in 97, I was 6 years old. According to the Carl Stuffers of New York Daily News, is their article in search of the golden age sound. Music theorists Ben Dunker and Dennis Martin of Episcopal Musicology Review used the 11 years between and including 1986 and 1995. No, 1986 and 1996. I mean, as chronological boundaries to define the golden age rap, beginning with the release of Run DMC's Raising Hell. With you down with the king. No, had the late Easy E. See who else was cameoing in the Onyx, Chris Cross too. And the Beastie Boys lost the Eels, and they ended with the deaths of Tupac Shakur, rest in peace. And Notorious B.I.G., the Boombox writers Todd Stereo Williams also cites the May 1986 release of Raising Hell. No, Raising Hell wasn't the one with Down with the King. I forgot that Run DMC 1990s album. But yeah, which sold more than the 3 million copies as the start of the period. Notes of overtime the next year, important albums were released in the success, including License to Ill, Boogie Down Productions, Criminal Minded, 1987, Public Enemies, Yo Bum Rush the Show, 1987, and Eric B. and Rakim's Paid in Full, 1986. Williams views the development as beginning of hip hop's own album era from the late 1980s to the late 1990s, during which hip hop albums earned an unprecedented critical recognition and would be the measuring stick by which most of the genre's greats would be judged. Now, here we go. Gangsta rap and West Coast hip hop. Many black rappers, including Ice-T and Sister Soldier, contended that they are being unfairly singled out because their music reflects deep changes in society not being addressed anywhere else in the public forum. The white politicians, the artists, the complaints neither understand their music nor desire to hear what's going on the devastating communities that gave birth to the art form. Chuck Phillips, Los Angeles Times, 1992. Now here we go. It's about to get gangster. Gangster rap is a subgenre of hip hop that reflects the violent lifestyles of the inner city American black youth. Gangster is a non-rhetoric production of the word gangster. The genre was pioneered in the mid 1980s by rappers such as Schoolie D, shout out to him, and Ice-T, shout out to Ice-T, another one of my icons in this game. I learned a lot from Ice-T. and was popularized in the late part of the 1980s by groups like N.W.A. You know. In 1985, School of D released PSK, What Does It Mean? Which is often regarded as the first gangster rap song, which was followed by Ice-T's 6 in the Morning. Yeah, yeah. In 1986, after the national first gangster rap song was after the national attention and controversy that Ice-T and N.W.A. created in the late 1980s and early 1990s, as well as the mainstreaming of G-Funk. Yeah, boy, that's my era. My bad. I love, of course, I love East Coast boom bap, but I freaks that G-Funk. People who have watched my past videos, you know I'm a G-Funk baby. Was I love all genres, but G-Funk just touched my heart right there. You know, Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate. No, rest in peace to late Nate Dogg. Salute. And of course, you got Snoop Dogg, you got Doggone. Well, yeah, Dre is G Funk, and you got Daz and Corrupt. Warren G, that's the one. Also, Warren G. Well, next to Snoop Dogg, Warren G really got me hooked to G Funk style as a kid. And shout out to North Carolina's own George Clinton for being the forefather of G Funk. Of course, funk music in general. In the mid Oh yes, salute to our hometown hero George Clinton. Had to give him a salute for being so revolutionary with that, and just to be from North Carolina, and he inspired the whole West Coast. The West Coast is a large area, so a triple salute, boom, 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 to George Clinton, North Carolina's own innovator. G-Funk in the mid-1990s, gangster rap became a most commercially lucrative subgenre of hip-hop. Some gangster rappers were known for mixing the political and social commentary of political rap. Ice Cube is a beast with it. I ain't saying he the only one, but Ice Cube is one of the beasts because he can mix that political rap and everything so well. So shout out to Cube. One of my icons, next to Pac, I think Cube be my deepest political rap icon. And third, I put Ice-T. And with the criminal elements and crime stories found in gangster rap, N.W.A. is the group most frequently associated with the founding of gangster rap. The lyrics were more violent, openly confrontational, and shocking than those of established rap acts, featuring innocent, incessant profanity and controversially using the word, jigger. Just take the J and put an N on it. These lyrics was placed over rough, rock guitar driven beats. And shout out to DJ Yella, man. He just don't get that much credit like that. Such a cool, humble dude. Check out DJ Yella interviews. He's just a likable dude, lovable dude. Into the music hard edge field, the first blockbuster gangster rap album was N.W.A. Straight Outta Compton. Yeah. Released in 1988, Straight Outta Compton would establish West Coast hip hop as a vital genre and establish Los Angeles as a legitimate rival to hip hop's long time capital, New York City. Straight Outta Compton sparked the first major controversy, which it did. I'm a 90s baby, and I know that. Controversy regarding hip hop lyrics when their song Buck the Police earned a letter from FBI Assistant Director Milks Alledge strongly expressed law enforcement's resentment towards the song. Controversy around Ice-T's album Body Count, in particular over the song Cop Killer. The song was intended to speak from the viewpoint of a criminal getting revenge on a racist, brutal cop. Ice-T's rock songs infuriated government officials and the National Rifle Association of America and various police advocacy groups consistently Time Warner Music refused to release Ice-T's upcoming album. All right, here, Home Invasion. Let me scroll up. Because of the controversy surrounding the cop killer, Ice-T suggested that the fury over the song was an overreaction. What a fury over the song was overreaction. All right, what's overreaction? Telling journalist Chuck Phillips they've done movies about nurse killers and teacher killers and student killers after Arnold Schwarzenegger blew away dozens of cops and as the Terminator, which he's making a point. But I don't hear anybody complaining about that. In the same interview, Ice-T suggested to Phillips that the misunderstanding of cop killer and the attempts to censor it had racial overtones. The Supreme Court says it's okay to beat for a white man to burn cross in public, but nobody wants a black man to write a record about a cop killer. Mm, that's why Rock's Ice-T. He gonna speak his mind. Subject matter inherits in gangster rap more generally has caused controversy. The White House administration by George H.W. Bush, the dad, not the singer, and Bill Clinton criticized the genre. You know how powerful you gotta be to get them on your, I ain't gonna say neck disrespect, but to get them on your hind end. But the reason why rap is under attack is because it exposes all the contradictions of American culture. What started out as an underground art form has become a vehicle to expose a lot of critical issues that are usually discussed in American politics. The problem here is the White House wannabes like Bill Clinton represent a political system that never intends to deal with the inner city urban chaos. Sister Soldier, shout out to the beautiful black queen, Sister Soldier, told the Times. Due to the influence of Ice-T and N.W.A, gangster rap is often viewed as a primarily West Coast phenomenon, despite the contributions of East Coast acts like Schoolie D and Boogie Down Productions in shaping the genre. Of course, Flavor Flav, Public Enemy right here in 1991. Mainstream breakthrough. Dang, then we're gonna talk about MC Hammer. But in 1990, Public Enemy Fear of the Black Planet, one of my favorite albums. Go check it out, young folks, and know some hip hop. Was a significant success with music critics and consumers. The album played a key role in hip hop's mainstream emergence. In 1990, dubbed by Billboard editor Paul Green as the year that rap exploded. Yes, I'm blessed to be born in 1990. It's a blessing from God. In a 1990 article on the commercial breakthrough, Janet C. Thompson of Time wrote the hip hop has grown into the most exciting development in American pop music. It is more than a decade. Let that sink in. Thompson noted the impact of Public Enemy's 1989 single Fight the Power. Still one of my favorites. I mean that from the Def Jam game. Def Jam Vendetta game in 2003 one. Fight the Power, rapper Tony Lokes, single Wild Style. I love that song too. That's just the power of them sharing it. Because for 90s babies like me who wasn't born in the 80s and know it and respect songs like that, that's why I respect the Big Daddy Kane's and LL Cool J's, Cool G Raps, Cool Mo D's. Do that. And I missed the old BT into BT too. Well, back then BT, not now. Not BT now. Wild Things being the best selling single in 1989, and that at the time, for her article, nearly a third of the song's singles. Hold up. Let me scroll up. Nearly the songs on the Billboard's Hot 100 were hip hop songs. Rats hip hop for that. In a similar 1990 article, Robert Hilborn of the Los Angeles Times put hip hop music commercial emergence into perspective. It was 10 years ago that the Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight became the first hip hop single to enter the national top 20. Whoever figured then that the music would even be around in 1990? That's blessed. Thank God for hip hop. Much less produce attractions that would command as much pop attention as Public Enemy and N.W.A. Rapper's Delight was a novelty record that was considered by much of the pop community simply as a lightweight offshoot of disco, and that image stuck for years. Occasional records, including Grandmaster Flash, The Message in 1982's The Run DMC's It's Like That in 1984, won critical approval. But rap mostly was dismissed, which go figure they're going to dismiss as a passing fancy, too repetitious, too one-dimensional. Hmm. But they was proven wrong. Yet rap didn't go away, and an explosion of energy and imagination in the late 1980s leaves rap today as arguably the most vital new street originated sound in pop since the birth of rock in the 1950s. Rap is the rock and roll of the day. Rock and roll was about attitude, rebellion, and the big beat sex, and sometimes social comments. If that's what you're looking for now, you're going to find it here. Bill Adler, 1990. Yeah, my boy, here we go. So I can relate to MC Hammer. MC Hammer hit mainstream success with the multi-platinum album Please Hammer Don't Hurt, one of my favorites. Man, matter of fact, I don't know my favorites. I just freak MC Hammer music, period. I ain't never heard MC Hammer have a lame song or a lame album. So we gonna go to play. Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him. The record reached #1 on the first single, Can't Touch This. Man, this is a shout out to MC Hammer for sampling the late great Rich James song and doing good. He made a hit, another hit. Let that sink in. You Can't Touch This charted on the top of the 10 Billboard's Hot 100. MC Hammer became one of the most successful rappers of the early 90s and one of the first household names. I remember that my cousin had the MC Hammer dolls. And he had the Saturday morning cartoon, Kid and Play, and MC Hammer. People I know, well, Tone Loc did the voice of Seabird for Seabird and Jamal, but them only rappers I know that had a Saturday morning cartoon. It might be the last they kind, unless a new rapper come out with a Saturday morning cartoon of this era. The album raised rap music to a new level of popularity. It was the first hip hop album certified diamond by the RIAA for sales over 10 million. Goodness, boy, that's a blessing. God. It remains one of the best genres of all time selling albums. To date, the album has sold as many as 18 million units. You gotta make ugly face like the Santa Wings brothers. 18 million. That's a blessing, man. What our people have done in this music label with music. 18 million, you know how much that is? To date, the album has sold as many as 18 million units. Released in 1990, Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice was the first hip hop single to top the Billboard charts in the US. It's also reached #1 in the UK, Australia, among others. It has been credited for helping diversity hip hop by introducing it to a mainstream audience. In 1992, Dr. Dre met the Chronic, baby. We vouched for that Chronic album, as well as helping to establish West Coast gangster rap as one of the more commercial, viable than East Coast hip hop. This album found a style called G Funk. Like I said again, one of my favorite styles, well, my top favorite style, which styles of music, which soon came to dominate West Coast hip hop. The style was further developed and popularized by Snoop Dogg's 1993 album Doggy Style. Snoop Dogg was the first rapper I was introduced to as a kid. Then Bone Thugs Harmony was the first rap group I was introduced as a kid. So it's a blessing to me to be able to read this. Snoop Dogg's 1993 Doggy Style album. However, hip hop was still met with resistance from black radio, including urban contemporary radio stations. Russell Simmons said in 1990, black radio stations hated rap from the start, and there's still a lot of resistance to it. It is true. Despite the lack of support from some black radio stations, hip hop became a best-selling music genre that sank in the mid 1990s. In the top-selling music genre in 1999, and with 81 CDs sold. By the late 1990s, hip hop was artificially dominated by Wu Tang, Wu Tang, by the Wu Tang Clan. Diddy, say what you want to say about Diddy, but we ain't gonna let the legacy of Biggie or Nas, I'm not, Biggie, late great Craig Matt, rest in peace to both legends, Lil Kim and Mace be tarnished. We don't have to people don't have to be with Diddy, but I'm not gonna let the late Biggie or Craig Matt or Shine or Lil Kim or Lil Cease legacy be tarnished. That's between Diddy and them. So, we still love Biggie and them. And the foods. Shout out to beautiful Black Queen Lauren Hill. Of course, shout out to see What's Wycliffe John and them and Prize. I freaks with the Fugees too. The Beastie Boys continued their success throughout the decade, crossing color lines and gaining respect from many different artists, record labels based out of Atlanta, yeah, St. Louis, and New Orleans. Oh yeah, my other favorite group about to come up, Bone Thugs Homie, of course my favorite fast-paced rapper Tech Nine, and my other favorite fast-paced rapper Twister. Also gained fame for the local scenes in the Midwest rap scene, known as a fast vocal styles from the artists such as Bone Thugs and Harmony, Tech Nine, and Twister. By the end of the decade, hip hop was an integral part of music, popular music, and many American pop songs had hip hop components. Midwest, no, they got that just a cohesion. Everybody can never flash. Just bit of that cats. So get a move, who flop, the top, hit the box. You know that Bone had that tongue twisting, singing and rapping to it. Tech Nine just got that straight up speed. Twister got that fast paced speed. The Twister is the tongue twister, yeah. And Bone more harmonized. Tech is just, I don't know how I explain. Tech Nine is more like clarity, I would say, in his fast pace. By the end of the decade, hip hop was an integral part of popular music, and many American pop songs had hip hop components, but that's true too. Hip hop has been described as the mainstream subculture. The main reasons why hip hop culture secured its subculture authority despite becoming a part of the mass media and mainstream industries can be summarized as follows. First, hip hop artists promoted symbolic and conspicuous consumption in their music from a very early stage. Second, in continuing display of resistance in hip hop has continually attracted new generations of rebellious fans. Third, Owen, the subculture idea of raising from the underground, the hip hop scene has remained committed to the urban roots. Fourth, the concept of battle rap has prevented hip hop music from excessive cultural dilution. Finally, the solidarity within the African American community has shielded and subculture from erosion through mainstream commercialism. See here what we got. Phew, that's a lot of info. All right, here it goes. I'm gonna have to make a part three of this. We're just gonna make this a whole series. Uh, Don't worry about it, folks. Yeah, I handle this. Have many parts spent on there, so you don't have to stress and just enjoy the videos. East versus West rivalry. East versus West rivalry. The East Coast West Coast hip hop rivalry was feud in 1991 to 1997 between artists and fans of the East Coast hip hop and the West Coast hip hop scenes in the United States, especially from 1994 to 1997. Focal points of the feud were East Coast based rappers Notorious B.I.G. and his New York based label Bad Boy Records, and the West Coast rapper Tupac Shakur and his Los Angeles based label Death Row Records. The rivalry started before the rappers themselves hit the scene. Because New York is the birthplace of hip hop artists from the West Coast felt it as if they were not receiving the same media coverage and public attention as the East Coast. And as time went on, both rappers began to grow in fame, and as they both became more known, the tensions continued to arise. Eventually, both artists are fatally shot. No, unfortunately, not showing fallen drive-by shootings by unknown assailants in 1997 and 1996, respectively. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit you the next part tomorrow. Like I said, Shout out to everyone and everyone on X. Subscribe to the Slinger Cool podcast. I need your views and subscriptions. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You remember, keep God first. I love hip hop, and hip hop loves you. I am hip hop. And shout out to the viewers. Make sure you share all these videos, share the whole series when I finish it. And remember, I love doing what I'm doing. Team No Sugarcoat. No sugarcoat nothing because we ain't candy. And make sure, John 3:16, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, this way we believe in him to not perish but have everlasting life. So we out. Peace, love, and God bless. Shout out to everyone from the north, south, east, and the west of all music.